Have you ever sat down and think about the future? Have you ever thought that maybe one day you wouldn't be yourself? No one will ever know what the future holds. You can be healthy one day and sick the next. Life is really unpredictable. Today, I'm going to talk about a film that relates to what I just said. The title of this film is called Still Alice. This film made its premiere at the 2014 Toronto International Film Festival, and it is an independent drama film. Still Alice is a film based on the best-selling novel of the same title by Lisa Genova, which was published in 2007. It was written and directed by Richard Glatzer and Wash West. It stars Julianne Moore as Alice Howland, the main protagonist, who is a linguistics professor in Columbia University. Alex Baldwin as John Howland, husband of Alice, and he is a scientist. And they have 3 children who are played by Kate Bosworth, Hunter Parrish, and Kristen Stewart. Still Alice is a drama film based on a woman named Alice, who just turned 50 years old in the film. She later then discovers that she has developed early onset Alzheimer's disease, and it is a rare case that it is passed down genetically. As time goes by, the illness started to get worse. From the beginning of the film to the very last scene, you can see a large and vast difference between the characteristics and behavior of Alice. As for my critique today, the film crafts that I have chosen to talk about for this film would be the sound and mise-en-scène aspects of it. For sound, I noticed that most of the soundtrack playing in the background were the same. At the first half of the film, when Alice was diagnosed, the soundtrack No Secrets is being repeated a few times. It is a very peaceful music and the tempo is just right, reflecting how Alice is feeling, mellow and normal. The fact that this soundtrack is being played before she was diagnosed and after she was diagnosed, during the early days of course, shows that she is trying to not let this illness affect her daily life. She still attends classes and cooks for her family. In the later days, the illness starts to worsen. Occasionally, there will be episodes where she freaks out and wouldn't be able to control her emotions due to not being able to carry out normal tasks. For example, there was a scene where she could not sleep and her mind wanders off. She then gets out of bed and down to the kitchen. She starts rummaging in her bag and opening all the drawers, taking out things, and most of the objects being taken out are oddly placed in places, like a lemon in a bowl where they put their keys. As the scene plays out, the sound is at a very fast tempo and it seemed urgent, keeping us on edge. It sounds frantic, which mirrors her actions and emotions at that point. In other words, the soundtrack matches the rhythm of the scene. Also, the audio mixing was done perfectly in terms of perception. Some scenes had the audio done in a way to give us the point of view of Alice and what she is actually hearing. In one particular scene, Alice is sitting on a couch and the back of her head is in focus while there was a depth of field implied. In the background was her husband John and 2 of her 3 children, Anna and Tom. They were all discussing on Alice's situation, however the voices were muffled. This gives the impression of how Alice is living in her own world and the voices of anyone is not being heard clearly. Next, I would like to touch on the mise-en-scène of this film. Another thing to definitely notice is the performance of Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore captured every moment and detail of how painful and unbearable of an experience that a person suffering from Alzheimer's disease can be. It certainly moved and made the audience cry for her character's pain, as her performance almost seemed like the natural behavior of someone who suffers from this disease. The way Julianne Moore portrayed her character was so vivid and clear. Her dialogue truly has an undertone to a deeper meaning in the film. There was one scene where her husband was helping her with her clothes, and instead of the navy blue pants, she wanted her green ones. But her husband said the navy blue ones would be better.
Well, no, I think this one will be.
Before being diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, Alice would have fought and asked why. But all she did at that point was nod and obediently put on her pants. This shows that she no longer has control of her own life and decisions, just like what Alzheimer's disease would do to a person. They can no longer manage their life independently and will have no say in any decisions made. In conclusion, I think that this film really does show the raw feelings of someone suffering from Alzheimer's, as Julianne Moore's character truly represents what most of the patients suffer from. I think it is very effective, as Alice Howland was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at the age of 50, which is a very young age and too early to contract this illness. I believe that if you watch this film, you will get really emotional and might be able to understand this disease more than you already do. Hence, it is a must watch.